Have you ever wondered why a doctor earning $300,000 a year can be broke, while a teacher making $50,000 builds wealth? Or why lottery winners often end up bankrupt within a few years? The answer isn't about intelligence or income. It's about psychology. I'm Jane, and in my years working with clients from all walks of life, I've seen the same pattern repeat itself. Smart, educated, hardworking people making terrible financial decisions. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It's probably happening to you right now, and you don't even realize it. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of money. We'll explore the hidden biases sabotaging your wealth, real stories of financial self-destruction, and most importantly, how to rewire your brain for financial success. Let's get started. The first point is loss aversion. Let me start with a question. If I offered you a coin flip where heads you win $200, but tails you lose $100, would you take it? Mathematically, you should. The expected value is positive. But most people won't. This is loss aversion, and it's costing you a fortune. Loss aversion is our brain's tendency to feel the pain of losing more intensely than the pleasure of gaining. Research shows we feel losses about 2.5 times more strongly than equivalent gains. Think about that. Losing $100 hurts more than finding $100 feels good. Here's a real story from my practice. I had a client, Michael, a software engineer earning $180,000 annually. In 2020, the market crashed during the pandemic. Michael panicked and sold his entire retirement portfolio, locking in a 30% loss. He was terrified of losing more. But here's what happened. The market recovered within months, and by the end of 2021, it hit all-time highs. If Michael had held on, his portfolio would have not only recovered but grown substantially. Instead, his fear of loss cost him years of compound growth. This happens everywhere. People hold onto losing stocks hoping they'll recover rather than admitting the loss and moving on. They avoid investing altogether because they're afraid of market downturns, missing out on decades of growth. They keep money in savings accounts earning 0.5% because it feels safe, while inflation silently erodes 3 to 4% of their purchasing power every year. The antidote? Create rules before emotions take over. Set predetermined exit strategies. Automate your investments so you're not making emotional decisions during market volatility. And remember, not investing is a decision, and often, it's the most expensive one. The second point is lifestyle creep. Now let's talk about the silent wealth killer, lifestyle creep. This is when your spending rises in lockstep with your income, keeping you perpetually stuck on the financial treadmill. Picture this. You're making $60,000, living in a modest apartment, driving a used Honda. Life is tight, but manageable. Then you get promoted. Suddenly you're at $90,000. Finally, you can breathe, right? Wrong. Within months, you've upgraded to a luxury apartment, leased a BMW, subscribed to every streaming service, and started eating out 5 nights a week. A year later, despite earning 50% more, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Sound familiar? I've seen this with a client I'll call Sarah. She was a marketing manager who climbed from $70,000 to $150,000 over 5 years. Incredible success story. But when we sat down to review her finances, she had less saved than when she was making half as much. Every raise brought a new reward, a bigger house, private school for the kids, European vacations, designer clothes. She was earning more but building less wealth. Here's the trap. We psychologically anchor to our current lifestyle. Once you upgrade, downgrading feels like failure. That luxury car isn't just transportation anymore. It's tied to your identity, your status, your self-worth. The $3,000 apartment becomes your baseline, and moving to a $1,800 apartment feels like going backwards, even though it would save you $14,400 a year. The solution isn't to never enjoy your success. It's to implement what I call the 50-50 rule. When you get a raise, increase your lifestyle with 50% of the after-tax increase, and automatically direct the other 50% to savings and investments. This way, You enjoy progress without sabotaging your future. Ask yourself right now, what did you upgrade in the last 2 years? And what would happen to your financial trajectory if you banked that difference instead? The next point is instant gratification. Let's move to perhaps the most destructive bias of all, instant gratification, or what psychologists call present bias. This is our brain's preference for immediate rewards over larger future rewards. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment demonstrated this perfectly. Children were offered 1 marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows if they waited 15 minutes. Most couldn't wait. But here's the fascinating part. Decades later, researchers found that the children who delayed gratification had better life outcomes, higher SAT scores, and yes, better financial health. Your brain is wired for the savannah, not for modern finance. 10,000 years ago, immediate rewards made sense. That fruit on the tree might not be there tomorrow. But today, this wiring destroys wealth. We choose the vacation we can book today over the retirement we can't see. We buy the $1,200 phone on credit rather than investing that money, which at 8% annual returns would grow to over $5,000 in 20 years. I worked with a couple, James and Lisa, both in their early 30s, earning a combined $140,000. They came to me confused about why they couldn't get ahead. The answer was in their credit card statements: $800 monthly on dining out, $300 on subscription services they barely used, impulse purchases on Amazon averaging $400 monthly. They were spending roughly $1,500 per month on instant gratification items that provided fleeting satisfaction. We did the math together. If they cut that to $500 monthly and invested the $1,000 difference at a conservative 7% return, they'd have an additional $1.2 million by retirement. $1 million exchanged for temporary dopamine hits. The fix requires creating friction for immediate spending and ease for future saving. Delete saved credit cards from websites. Implement a 48-hour rule for non-essential purchases over $100. Automate transfers to investment accounts on payday, so saving happens before spending. Make your future self as real as your present self by visualizing specific goals with actual numbers and dates. The next point is the compound effect. Here's where these biases get really dangerous. They compound. Just like interest compounds your money, bad decisions compound your financial problems. Loss aversion keeps you out of the market, so you miss compound growth. Then lifestyle creep ensures any extra money you do make gets spent. And instant gratification means you're also accumulating debt, which compounds against you at 18 to 24% on credit cards. These 3 biases working together create a financial debt spiral. Consider the average American household. They carry $6,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest. They have maybe $5,000 in their 401k despite being in their 30s. They lease cars they can't afford and finance furniture at absurd rates. Each decision seems small, but together, they create a mathematical impossibility of building wealth. Now flip it. Imagine someone who invests consistently despite market fear, keeps lifestyle increases modest despite rising income, and delays gratification to fund their future. Even with a modest income, this person becomes wealthy over time. Not because they are smarter, but because they understand their psychology. I've seen janitors retire as millionaires and lawyers retire broke. The difference wasn't the paycheck. It was the psychology. In conclusion and action steps. So where do you go from here? Awareness is step 1, but action is what counts. Here are 3 immediate steps you can take today. First, identify your primary bias. Are you most vulnerable to loss aversion, lifestyle creep, or instant gratification? Be honest. Look at your bank statements from the last 3 months. The patterns are there. Second, create systems that protect you from yourself. Automate your investments. Set up separate accounts for different goals. Create rules that remove emotion from financial decisions. You can't rely on willpower alone. The biases are too strong. Third, make your future self real. Calculate what your current spending decisions actually cost you in future wealth. Use compound interest calculators. Put real numbers to the trade-offs you're making. When that $5 daily coffee becomes $120,000 over 30 years at 8% returns, suddenly it's not just coffee anymore. Remember, personal finance is more personal than it is finance. Your behavior determines your outcomes more than your income ever will. The wealthiest person isn't the one who earns the most, it's the one who makes the best decisions with what they have. If this video opened your eyes to your own financial psychology, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that will transform your relationship with money. Drop a comment telling me which bias you struggle with most. I read every single one and often create content based on your questions. And here's your homework. Calculate one decision you've made in the past year driven by bias, and figure out what it's actually costing you. The number might shock you, but that shock is the beginning of change. Thanks for watching Investor's Blueprint. I'll see you in the next video where we tackle building multiple income streams. Until then, remember, master your mind, master your money.